Hello again, and welcome to the last part of this Olympus 35 RD, and I will continue with the assemble process, and there might be also some other details that could happen in the way putting things back in. So have fun. Well, since I have cleaned the shutter assembly, I mean there was no oil on the actual aperture plates, so there was no need for doing anything about there. But the lens, front and lens, back lens group was also cleaned. There was some haze and dust and dirt, and also the self timer. No, not the self timer. It is this part here, but the slow gear here was also needs some attention and cleaning and lube. So now it works perfect. But I will continue to put things back in, and yeah, that's just the way it is. There are some details that could be doing in a different way, in another way of it. It might be. Well, let's see. I want to put the shutter assembly into the focusing housing here, and we do put the connection between this part here, which will be this gear wheel, and it will be the long end that goes on here, because we have to focus on here. So maybe zoom in a little so we have a better look what happened. So now I think I will do this one because it's just easier as I see it. Maybe you might have a different look at this, but there's something about the fork here, this one here, that is put in here, and via this part here is going to the gear here. Now, to actually put the parts together, I could do it in, well, two ways, I think. Putting in the shutter here into the housing, focusing house, and later put on the back lens group, or I could just put it in now, which I will do. So I will put in the back lens group, just screw it in so it sits where it should. Find the thread here, there, and gently tighten it with a kind of a rubber tool. Take care of the two pins here, not damage those. Might be the other end. No, I think I will use my actually old lens tool for that. So there and there, and gently tighten it. So I mean there is still some thread lock on it, old of course, and the ring here also need to be put on. It's plastic, kind of a light shield. So Now this is ready to be put in, and remember the long part, it has to sit like this. So by adding this into here, the pin here goes into here. So just add it in there. So almost there. So, and just for having things in correct place, of course I should have loaded my screwdriver with a screw, but no problem. And I will simply put the 3 screws in here so everything is in place. So, and the last screw. Somebody mentioned that it would be easier to just put in all the parts and then put in the shutter assembly, and but it's not really possible as I see it. So it's just easier to add this fork, which is the connection to the shutter in here. There's a pin down, this pin here, and this fork goes on here, if it's possible to fit it in here. So, and it just stays there. So now I can add this part here, the timing gear, whatever it calls. I can see there is a point here that I should have think about. Well, this pin here, I mean this pin here, oh sorry, I should have turned it off, turn it over, but there's no problem. No, I haven't said anything. So I will put this on here. So, and then put this on here. And there are those tiny pins, for example this one here, it has to go through here. So one maybe push a little. So there. But there is one thing I should think about that I see right now, is that this wire here has to go so, because there is a little kind of a notch there. So now we are okay. Then the shutter pin here doesn't. Do you mind stay? Okay. So now it should be fine to put in here. Well, sometimes it's not easy, but I think we will manage. So there. And so put this part on here. Okay, little fellow. This. Oh, here we are. I mean, hopefully. Yeah. there. And you see the wire comes out here. And I didn't show that in at first, so well, one learn the lesson sometimes the hard way. So when I have set the first screw here, so I'm safe home. And screw here. So and then that should be fine. Now I can add the this little part here. Okay, little fellow there, and this goes on here. So, which is the connection, and I can just lift up this a little, or maybe turn it a little, if it's possible. You can see it works the way when I turn it, the shutter blade will move. So everything is actually working. So this one goes on here. Something like that at first, and then put on a screw. So there it is. And keep a finger on it because of the magnetized screwdriver. So, and then one have to maybe move this part here a little, so the hole and the little pin from here is sitting correct. So. And let's see how it will work. So I can advance the shutter in a way by turning this gear wheel and then fire the shutter. And if I move this a bit, I will probably get a faster shutter. So you can see. So it works. That's fine. I mean, that's actually really good. This wire have to go around here like it was before I took it apart. So you see why the long end has to go towards the back, because of the focusing. See? So this is how it works, and now I can just continue with the front part of this and put this curved piece of metal. I don't know the name of it. It says really nothing in the repair manual, but this one goes in here, and you have to move it like this to get it into correct place. So it sits. Be careful about the when you put it on, that it has to sit under here. So when it's moved, it has to sit like this. Not that. It doesn't have to sit like that, and it can easily come on and hang on this here. So be careful about that. has to sit down there. And then I can add my screw, this special long screw. So. And when you screw it in, this over here can easily pop out, and it will make it not so easy to actually work. So something like that. Oh. And then the tiny spring here will come on, and it will go on here, and with a dented tweezer it will be easy to, oh, come on little spring, and then one can simply put it on there, and this, the other end of, has to sit on the pin, around the pin here, so it sits like that, so things can actually move away. So be careful not to put to set the focus too much over, because then this will happen. If you look, this is the infinity, and when I put it way too much over, look what's happened. Click. And then you cannot move the focus ring. And then one have to actually move this here, and then and move the focus ring so it's like there. So, and now I can just continue with the with this ring here that goes on here, and there is a lock ring here, and it has to click into place. Oh, tiny hair. So it sits like that around the edge here, so this ring can move without any problem. And now the focus ring can come on, and then we have to align it. And you maybe remember in the beginning when I set a mark here in line with the focusing ring, so it has to sit there, and the focus ring, well, I also set a small mark here which has to sit over here, so it looks like something here, and the fork here has to engage with the ring around here. So now I can actually tighten the 4 small set screws around the edge of the focusing ring, and everything will be proper aligned, just like it was new. Just to have it, do it correct. So there, and then put the ring on. So, and then tighten some screws. at the same time when you hold on the focusing ring, so it will prevent it from move. So, and here we are. And you don't have to actually tighten the screws too much. It'll be fine. Not touch it, I mean screw it so much in, because the focusing ring has to move easily. So now it works. The next thing that comes on is this brass ring. It goes here. That little hole here with the gear connection is coming through. And then we have 4 small screws that sits around. It's not those, it's those here. So, and then I need my smaller screwdriver. So, and here. And this one here. Funny way they made this. So. And all screws are fine. Now the next thing is the aperture ring, but it's also the dented ring here that is connection to the exposure. I mean, this is the exposure wheel ring that is connected here. So I will simply do one way or the other, just to find out where is the B setting. I have to find that. So or it could be 500, doesn't really matter. So it's 500, one of a 500. So I can simply put this on here. So when I move this, so setting on 500, so it will be something like that. And when I turn it all the way over here, it will be the bulb, a B. So it stays open. So one have to remember that. You could set it to 1 to B, or you could set it to the other end, which will be here. That's 500, 1 of a 500 second. So that's it, and then I can add my front ring here with a tiny steel ball that makes the click for the exposure wheel. And for that I will need some super loop just to keep the tiny steel ball in place. And for that I will just add a tiny fragment of just a little, and then put this on here where the ball will sit, because then it will stay there. And that's a good thing. So put it on, and that's fine. And then I can add this ring, but I should also let's see, where did those screw went? It's here. And load my screwdriver with one screw, so I can actually hold the ring here, put it on. It can only sit in one position, as you can see. Their notch here and up here for the sensor, I mean for the light sensor. So now I can put this on, and I will set, let's see, there, and then put the put the screw on here, and so it's fine. Then the two other screws. But there's one thing we need to put in first. The front lens. Gah. Okay, back to the studio. It's not that hard. It could be worse. Sometimes one forgets something, but it's easy to fix, because then I have the lens out here, and I can simply just add it in here, in, and with a set the lens to there, and simply use a rubber tool to tighten the lens, which will be quite easy, especially with all those cones put in. So now it's fine, and then I can put this ring on again, and so we are on right track. Just check the 1/500, it's correct here. Yeah, and the B is there, so the 1/500 or the other have to be aligned with the index mark here, which almost is there. So it should be something like that. Yeah, that's fine. And then the ring here comes on. And so there. So maybe it's better to just put it on here. I mean, closest to the little steel ball. Then this screw and the last one. So the front assembly is actually almost there. Well, as I see it, I could have taken, I mean, put it this on the housing here, but I think it will be difficult to add the sensor, I mean the light sensor here, because the cords are really short in this camera. So I think I will just put the wire, solder the wire on here to the center, and then put it in. Put the wire through the hole here, down here, and it will come out here. Because then it will be easier to just solder it down here on the circuit board. There is a connection, there is some connection that I made a drawing of. Where did it went? Somewhere. Okay. Yeah. Hold on a second. So I found the this one here. So if we look here, how things are put together. There are 5 solder points, the red, the white, and 3 blacks, which is connected together on the circuit board here. So I will just take off the red wire and one of the black wire here. So, and solder it to the CDS sensor. I think it will make it easier when put it back together in the housing. So, there, and this wire here. So and then roll it against so. Then try to catch it on the other side of the front here. So when putting this in here, okay, maybe it's just easier the other way round. And hopefully the wire come out here. Not easy. There. Maybe. Ah, okay, it's not that easy. So, okay, I will do it the other way. Just taking off this ring, the front ring, keep 2 fingers on the take out this ring, and then it should be just a little easier to actually get the wire through a hole. Okay, I think I'll do it in a different way. That's it. Oh, it will not work. Okay. Now, let's see. It have to work. Like I wanted to. So, solder it together. And now it should be possible to put down here. Will it work? Okay, off with this ring. Sometimes we just have to do it. Okay, not easy. I can actually see through this, and a tweezer. So here we are. Whew. And now the exposure ring comes on again. And it was 500. It was set on. Oh, was it? Okay, we set it on 500. So there, that's fine. And then on with the front ring. So there. And one screw comes in. And can the move ring? Yeah, fine. Now we are back on track, so that's good. So I will just solder the CDS sensor. So, fine. And then the two small insulation on the wires here have to come on. It's not that easy. Can just expand them a little with a fine tweezer, and hopefully it will make it easier to put on. No. The wires are not, the plastic is not so good. What about the other one? Should that be easier? No. It's not good. One can just make it little. So that will work, hopefully. I see the wire is not that long, so I need to have it will not work. So here we are. It's just because the wire are a bit soft. Yeah, okay, here we are. Fine. And the other one, go a little easier. Yeah. Yeah. No, yes. Fine. And now I can solder the two wires to the gosh, old well, sometimes problems happen, and there. And then the CDS, which we have here. It doesn't matter how the wires are connected, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. And we need some solder. So there. And we also prepare the cord with new solder. So, because then it will be easier to solder it on this component. So, and the other wire probably also needs some new, and then solder it on here. Not good. So I think it should work. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Then take the insulation plastic over. Sometimes it's not easy because it gets too hot and melting. But the red one, I think here will be fine. So there, and then the black. Oh, So here we are. Oh gosh. So the wire here is now ready to put in, and I probably should just turn it a little so there is some kind of, the wires are connected in a way. I think this one is meant to actually have the wires in a place. So it's a kind of a fork or something. So one can put it on there. And the next one here. So now I think it will work. And then simply draw in the wires here and put the front on, and everything should be fine. Wow, should work. And then the retaining ring on the front comes on. And everything should actually work like it should. So everything sits correct. Then set it onto near end, because then you have extended and I don't think there should be, maybe I should add some glue or something like that, because then I'm ready to put it into the housing. So off with this. I mean, it's no problem with that. Can always attach it after that. You see, then it's easier to attach the front lens assembly with the shutter and all those mechanical parts. But there is one thing that is important. This tiny pin goes to here. So, and it has to sit there because it's the connection pin from the focusing ring to the actual rangefinder. And this hole here, right here, will actually activate when moving the focusing ring. It will simply move this part here, and of course also move the rangefinder parts in there. Maybe you can see the little part here will move just a tiny bit, but it will move. So it is. Can we get it to move any further? Yeah. See. So then it should be possible to put in the parts here. Take care of the light meter, the needle. So this has to come all the way over here, as I see it. Because it will not be get in touch with this area here, because this is where the light meter is actually going through. So maybe is there any connection to up there? Strange. Okay, But so it is. Have to sit like this. And those will just go around here all together. It doesn't really matter because the two of the black here will go on the circuit board here, the same connection. So there's no problem with that. So I'm ready to put this in to the housing here, which will be like this. One have to actually fire the shutter so it's released, because there could be a problem here when attached to the gear here and this gear here. So we can just put it on, see how it will work. Maybe I have to take it off again or just loosen it a little. I don't know yet. It will I'll just put on 2 screws to have the front section in a safe position, and then I can try to advance the camera. So here, and see if it will advance correct, and then I can fire the shutter. Yeah, and it actually works. Could set the aperture to full open. If it's possible. There's something that's I have to figure out that there's something missing here. So it's possible to fire the shutter, but the aperture blades are not opening. Even if I set it to 1.7. So there's an issue there, which I have to figure out how that works. And it's not that, it's the self-timer. So they're missing some part in here. And I think it's maybe the one that have connection to this here. No. Hold on. It's fire released. So I'll take off the lens assembly and see what's happened on the back, because I think there's missing some screw, I mean kind of a spring or so, because when moving this part here, it should actually open the blades. But where is the connection here, inside here? It will not be the light meter. So what is it actually? Maybe there is one spring here on the back that is missing the connection to here. I think I have to take off this part here to get under here, and probably there's a connection to the pin here that will move some of the parts on here. So, well, it's not that hard. So, yeah, stay tuned. So, Now we have some updates of some errors because when I tried to assemble the shutter here, I couldn't figure out that I could not, when I pressed the shutter button, I simply could not stop down the or change the aperture. If I set it to something, well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, whatever aperture, the aperture plate still was just as they were. But if I press the shutter button here, nothing happened. So I think, okay, what's wrong? Well, and I figure out by taking the back plate here off, and there was a tiny spring here, somewhere under here, that was come out of place. So therefore this function didn't work. So, and I put the thing here back in with the error, so I can show you what's actually wrong, and that's a thing to be aware of when assemble this part here to the lens shutter assembly. So, I mean, if one press cut the shutter here and press the shutter button, if I set the aperture ring to something, well, let's say 5 or 8, let's say 8, and I press the shutter button, nothing happened. And there should happen something, at least. Or I could set it to A and cut the shutter, and something should happen. But nothing happened. Not at all. So what's actually wrong? So I figured out, and I simply need to unscrew this screw here. And take off this the two parts here, the screw and this, I don't know what it's called, connection from the winding gear or whatever it's called to the actual arm into the shutter here. So, and the shutter is fired, so that's fine. Now take off the 3 screws around here. So take care of the wires here and also this wire here. So, I will just load my screwdriver with 1 screw, so it's easier when putting things back in. Now, with the focus ring set to near end, one can take off the and of course set the what's also important in this case, I set the exposure wheel to something like one of a 500. So, and then I set a mark here, so I know where things sit when they are correct put in. So I take off this here, get the wire out, and then there was one spring that confused me a little. I mean, there is sitting an arm here, a pin here, that I think, and I do not have a repair manual for this camera, so there's no reference somewhere. So, and when pressing down this shutter button, nothing will really happen. And I mean, it should happen all over here. So, and one thing was coming out of place. This this arm here that is connected to, I mean, it has a kind of a fork here that goes into the pin. Hopefully you can see it. This pin in here, under here. But when doing so, one can actually take this part here, I'll show this part here, and push this lever there and put it in. So that's one thing. It was coming out of place, but there's also another thing which really confused me because of this pin here, this tiny pin here, because I think, okay, will this move? This spring is not so strong. So what was the error? Yeah, this spring here has to sit down here. There. So it is. And now things are working as they should. So that's it. So now I can put things back into the shutter lens assembly. And we need to put the two wires into the hole here, and also take care of the other black wire here. I think I would just zoom in a little. So, and the fork that is connected to the shutter, it will say this fork here. You can try to take it out. This one here has to sit like down here and get in. Where did it go? There. Will it work? Yeah. So, and now we are ready to put things into correct place. So this the pin from the shutter has to come in here. So, and the gear wheel from the exposure ring, this one has to sit there to place, and then I can put this on here. Just need to do so. And then put the whole thing here on. And hopefully it will work like it should be. So put this shutter mechanism over. Something like that. and then it should be possible to put it on here. Now this wire has to come over to this place here. It's not easy, but maybe someone else have a better solution. So now the this part sits correct as it should, and then I can simply put in my screw here, and then the shutter should actually work as it should. So that was really a funny error, but so, and then I can put this part here, that is the connection pin, or whatever it calls, to the actual advance mechanism, or whatever it calls. This tiny screw goes in here. Oh gosh, so now it sits where it should. One have to gently put this screw in because it has to sit correct. So maybe you have to do it like this. And let's see if it's possible to actually wind the shutter. How is it? So now you can see when I press the shutter button, now the aperture blades will open as they should. Let's set it to something like half a second. Or we could set it to something like 5.6 just to test. Yeah, there's a funny thing here. When pressing down the shutter button and one have cocked the shutter, this part here is a kind of a brake that when fire the shutter, it will break the aperture, so it cannot actually move right now, as you can see, because this pin is the other end of the aperture mechanism. So now everything is actually working right now, so I can simply put the front section into the house, the actually camera house. There's only a few things to mention. This pin here is, as I mentioned earlier, is the connection pin to the focusing and the rangefinder. So when I move the focusing ring, you can see it will move. And of course, again, press on the rangefinder mechanism that's behind here. So it looks like it's working, kind of. We just have some wire that we need to take care of. This one has to come around here. And also just turn the wires here so they will stay together when I put the front section in here. This space here, this notch here, is actually for the light meter. So now let's put things in and see if it's possible to advance the camera. Oh gosh. The rangefinder pin needs to be put in here, and then put the assembly into the house. And the wires here looks like they are fine. So let's put in some screws, just 2 small screws on the front here. And hopefully it's engaged with the advance gear. So ooh. Will it work if I just advance once? Wow, it's actually bringing back to life, which is really great. So, wow, how about that? That's really good. So the only thing I need to do is I can just put in the screws here to the front section. Then this screw. Wow, that's it. Now I can just actually, do I have something to put under here? Because then I will just solder the wires here on the circuit board. And I have a little drawing here, which we can see there are 5 solder points, and it's here. It's the red, which is the very left solder point, and the black, which is this and this solder point. So just need to put them in. Hopefully they will work as they should. And it has been a long journey, but it has turned out to be a camera that can be used and not just standing on the shelf and do nothing. So just put on new solder. And the wire. So this one and this one here. And the last one here, which hopefully is long enough. That's it. And then we have to pack the wires here so they are not, so they sit correct. Two of the wire has to go all the way around here. They can just go. And this long wire here goes. Seems like they have used some contact glue to hold the wires in place. This wire is not that long. Well, it can actually come all the way over here because there's no part that moves around. And then I can just add the bottom plate. So it looks like it's actually is a camera that can make really good pictures, have a great lens. So and now the next thing is we put in the self timer here, which sits with 2 screws, and there's also this screw that actually sits here. So and then the tiny 2 screws that hold the self timer in place. And remember how to put it in. This pin here has to go under this part here. So just to mention that. So when putting it in, yeah, one can just pull out the shutter button a little, so it will be actually easier to put in the gear, the self timer here. So it's just like here. Oh. Go away. So, and now the self-timer is also put in. And the next thing is, oh gosh, I forget something. Well, it has been a long journey. I need to take out the self-timer again because I need to solder the top cover flash hot shoe wire under the self-timer. Okay. So out with that. And then we have the solder point here. This is down here. So I just need to add a little solder. So, and then add the wire. So, oh, and that's it. And now I have to work with the top cover and the self-timer, but we will manage. So again, push out this way at the shutter button when putting in the self-timer. It will be a lot easier. So and now the top cover is actually ready to be put on. There's only one thing, the little hook here that hold the wire into place. That I need to put the wire under so it will not fool around. So here it is, and don't have to get any trouble with the rangefinder. So now then just screw it in a little and then figure out how it should sit correct. So something like that, and there's another one down here. We need another screwdriver. There's also a small wire hanger or whatever the name has. So here we are. Now things are in proper order, and then the top cover is almost on. The only thing we need to do is actually put the spacer here on the over here because it belongs there, and then put the top cover on. it will be fine. Okay, it's very dirty here on the back. Well, it's okay. Oh, yeah. We mentioned something. The shutter button itself. It has to sit here on and then put on the top cover. So now it looks like it will be fine, and then we can just secure the top cover with this screw on the right side. So, and the other ring, retaining ring nut, can be put on here. Okay, come on. And I could just use my rubber tool here to actually screw it in. So it's actually fine for now. Maybe I will go into the camera one day so it doesn't have to be too tight. Now the back cover needs to open and put in this pin here. Remember the little tiny waved spacer here? So this go on here, and then we just need the rewinder. And with the end of a tweezer, just gently tighten it. So that's it. Now the winder, actually, there are two spacers. They have to sit there, and the next one. And then the winder lever with the screw here. And then I will just use my rubber tool here to tighten the screw. So, and almost last thing is the self-timer lever. And remember, the spacer in here, there has to be one, have to sit one. So this one, the lever goes on here, and this screw is, when you screw it in, it should be counterclockwise. It will say the opposite direction of normal screwed in. It's a funny thing, left-handed. Gently tighten it, no need for overdo that. Yeah, something was... Wow! So you see, it actually works now. But some time ago it didn't work at all. So I can just put the cover on here. There is some sticky tape on this, or you could just use contact glue to add the the leather here. So, and that's actually that. So how about that? Now I have a working camera, which is great. I mean, really good. So there's, when I press the shutter button, the aperture will open, as you can see. So that's great. So yeah, that was actually all for me in this camera, which have a life now. So as you can see, it works pretty good. The aperture is open, so, and the shutter is fire. So that's it. So bye bye. Hope it will work for you. Next time I will make another video. Bye bye. Okay, I just have some extra info about the CDS light sensing cell and the connection to the shutter speed ring, because I recognize that when putting on the front ring here with the CDS light sensing cell, there is a kind of a what do you say, a blind, that if you change the shutter speed, the blind kind of will be smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller in there until it only has some tiny holes where the light can go through. Now this those holes has to sit correct to actually tell the light meter in here and again the light meter will stop the shutter assembly from being too fast or too slow. And it has to be aligned correct, because there is a pin that sits something like here when it says to 1/500 and it has to be connected to a notch in here where this blind ring with the blinds in that goes around here, so it has to be positioned correct. And I forget to mention that when I assembled the camera earlier in this video. So to go into this part here, we need to take out the retaining ring and simply unscrew it. Set the shutter speed to 1/500 and let it stay there, because we will figure out how to actually set this part correct into engage with the light meter blind here. So over the retaining ring, that's it, and gently need some tools. Forget my tweezer. Now lift up the front here, and actually we can set it to near end and see what's happening here. See, oh, difficult to do. So there is a pin here. Hope you can see it. This pin here is actually the connection pin that goes into the notch here on the front. And it will say not the tiny hole here, but is the notch here. That is the connection for this pin. So by actually recognize where it should sit, I will just set a mark so it will be easier to recognize. It could be a little different in your lens, but I don't think. But let's see how it is sit right now. Take care of the small wires here. Oh, difficult. So, and I will simply just set a mark around here. And of course on the other side. Because then it will be easier to actually see where the pin is. And, oh, did I set a mark here? Was there anything on? Not yet. It's not good enough. So we just do it again. So it will be something like that, and I will just move this ring just a little. So now it's ready to put in again, and hopefully it is actually, it sits around with the A here. So it's pretty much in line with the A in made, or something like between the A and D, but it's more than, as I see it, it's more like, yeah, actually at A. So it should be possible to actually put this ring on, and hopefully it will connect to this shutter, I mean CDS cell blind. Which has to sit correct, of course. That was funny. So there, and you probably need to move this a bit, the exposure ring, and then it's connected, as you can see. Hopefully you can see. And so it is. It then you just put the retaining ring on, and so it's actually done. And that was the part I forgot when I assembled the camera. I mean the front part. So, and oh. And one can actually just tighten the retaining ring, but before doing so we can just see, will it work proper? And it seems that it's fine. Then tighten it gently. So it is there. and that's fine. Well, you might think, okay, why do I not try the light meter? Well, it's just because I do not have a battery for this camera, so it's not really possible for me. But as you can see, it actually works pretty good. And if I set to something 500, and the blind is more closed, so that's it. And well, so that's all for me. So hope you can use the last info about this and all the other videos about this camera. So bye bye.